the moment fans around the world have been waiting for. It's time!
Good morning, everybody. 2 Cents Sports and Entertainment Show coming at you live this morning. Sunday morning, February 23rd. Middle of winter for some of you. Starting to get hot here for us. Anyway, we're welcome, and we are live here every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. May change when football season rolls around, but for right now, this is where we're at. Appreciate you tuning in. We got some things going on today. We're hoping to get a good interview in today with Adrian McPherson, former Florida State quarterback about 10 years ago or so, and most recently a Tampa Bay Storm quarterback, and is recently signed with the Canadian Football League team. We got that going on. We'll talk a little bit about the Olympics today, a little wrap up on them. Not a whole lot of time to speak around that. And we will talk about Ray Rice, who decided to play knockout game with his girlfriend this past week. And, you know, the combines going on at the NFL and some other things going on. And, of course, we'll do a little non-sports thing, but in fact, you can kind of tie it into sports with the Arizona situation going on with Senate Bill 1062 that just passed, and we'll tie that in and see how that ties into sports. But anyway, that's what we got on tap for today, of course, and we're open to anything. If anybody wants to call in and give us a shout or send us a message about any topic that you want to talk about, we're open to that as well. Zach, why don't you go ahead and give the specifics on that.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the coach here. Real quick, if you'd like to like us on Facebook, it is 2 Cents Sports and Entertainment Show. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay, good, because we changed the name, and then I changed it, and then it was wrong, so then Scuba went back and changed it, and then I changed it, and then Scuba put it back to what it was supposed to be. Yes,
we've tweaked it a little bit, but that's what our show's all about, man. It's about making sure we get it right and, change and adapting and do what we got to do to make sure that the word is out there. But I think we're settled now. I think we're good.
All right. Yeah, check out the Twitter, Scuba. Again, not the Twitter guy. That's all my job. At 2 Cent Zach.
Do not twat.
He does not twat. Anyway, you guys like to call in on any topic discussed today. It is 813-639-8255. Go ahead, lines are open, even though you probably shouldn't call right now because we haven't talked about anything yet.
Well, if they have something they want to talk about themselves.
Oh.
Don't discourage people from calling.
I'm sorry.
Killing me.
I'm sorry. You're killing me, Chubbs. Because it's not small, it's because I'm big.
Yeah, that's true.
Check out the website at www.2centshow.webs.com. Me and Scuba both moderate that. I send everything that I type to Scuba because I can't type and spell for my life.
Although you still try to slip stuff through from time to time.
Like Facebook posts, right?
Yeah, it's horrible.
It is. And check out the YouTube channel, Taylor's YouTube channel, MEHH. It's Taylor. Scuba, I'm done. Go ahead, you're up.
Oh, I am? Oh. Hello, is this on? It's been a long week.
You can say that again.
Yeah, well, so U.S. Olympic hockey teams, both of them, they blow.
Yeah, a bunch of chokers.
Bad. U.S. women were up 2-1. Actually, we're up 2-0 overall. 3.5 minutes to go in the game. They decided it was a good idea to start giving up goals. So it was 2-1, and they're just under 2 minutes left to go in the game, and they missed an empty net goal by mere inches to put the game away, secure gold for the USA women's hockey, and they missed wide left. 54.6 seconds left to go in the game. Canada ties it up. And we all know what happened in overtime. Canada put it in the back of the net. Canada wins gold. U.S. becomes first loser and gets silver. You can say what you want, but that's not a good compensation for blowing the gold. Then we move on to the USA men. Tearing up the tournament, highest scoring team going into the tournament, medal round, scoring 5 goals a game on average, and just totally went flat.
It was bad.
Not only do they lose 1-0 to Canada and have to settle to play for the bronze, then they get shut out again in the bronze medal game to Finland.
Well, the thing is I was reading reports, and the commentator actually said during the game that it didn't even look like the U.S. even wanted to be there.
They didn't. I think they were. No, and I'm not going to take away from Finland because the goalie was Tuukka Rask, my boy from Boston Bruins. So, congratulations to him. And, yeah, they certainly didn't want to be there. The 1-0 game, losing to Canada, I mean, that offense just absolutely disappeared. The whole game, they were just not physical at all. I mean, I understand that the international game is a lot different than the NHL, and I think a lot of people that get wrapped up in the international or Olympic hockey end up trying to watch the NHL and then ultimately get turned off because they like what they see in the international game, but the NHL doesn't translate quite the same. I like both games, to be honest, but even in the international game, you don't get a whole lot of hitting and stuff like that, or at least not as much as you do in the NHL. Of course, the ice surface is a little bit bigger, which I'm not sure why the NHL, of all the rule changes and stuff the NHL has made, the one rule change they haven't adopted is making the rink a little bit bigger, more to the international size. I think if they did that, they would really solve a lot of the other problems that they have. Probably would take a little bit of the physicality away from the game, but you know what? That's also what makes the game good too. Is not the hitting is great and I like it, but when it turns into piling up in a corner and nothing's happening, that's when people get turned off. But not myself, but at any rate,
one thing that I didn't understand, and I was watching the women's hockey game, I didn't realize women can't body check. I had no clue. It's not hockey. If you can't hit, you can't do really anything. You can go for the puck, you can shoot, but you're not allowed to hit somebody. Why?
I don't know if it's not allowed. I just think it's just something that they don't necessarily do. But I know that the men were kind of playing like that in that game against Canada, and it's just so when I say physical, I'm not necessarily. I mean, you got to hit a little bit. You got to check people off a little bit,
right?
And not get yourself checked out and let them get on breakaways and things of that nature. Quick kept the USA in the game. Canada was getting a lot of shots off, but ultimately they couldn't put puck in the net. They lose. They settle for playing for a bronze. They were even worse in that game, and no medal for the USA men's hockey team. A big disappointment, not just because they were USA, but just with the expectations and how well they had been playing and so forth. It's just a huge disappointment.
Yeah. Now, do you have the results of the game this morning? It was
yes, I watched it. It was on at 7:00 this morning. Canada wins the gold in men's hockey as well. Beat Sweden 3-0. Sweden is just not good. Not good enough anyway. But yeah, it wasn't much of a game. Sweden was never in it. So 3-0. Canada wins gold in men and women's hockey, which most people will tell you that's what's supposed to happen, and so be it. So the Olympics are wrapping up today. Thank goodness.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it has been there are too many Olympic events out there, and I believe like I said, the U.S. sent more people than anybody, and we came home with, what was it? Were we tied for the most golds or? No,
I don't. No, not really. But
we had the most bronze. I know that for a fact.
Well, yeah, we were like overall medals. I think we are. I'll tell you in a minute. I'll bring it up. Total medals right now, as it stands, and I think there's a couple events still going on today before the closing ceremonies. But Russia has 33 overall medals, 13 gold, 11 silver, 9 bronze. The United States is second overall medals with 28, but only 9 golds, 7 silver, and 12 bronze. There's a lot of U.S. athletes that turned up not to show up this year, and there were some events that we normally place in.
Shaun White, for sure.
Well, Shaun White's one of them for certain, but we really didn't do anything in like the speed skating events, which typically we'll have somebody in there. Just didn't get a whole lot of gold. I mean, we typically haven't been great in the winter sports anyway, but no, we're not up there in the gold. So Russia has the most golds by far. Second was Norway, who actually is third overall with medals, 11 gold, 5 silver, 10 bronze. And then Canada at 25 overall at fourth place, 10, 10, and 5. And then Netherlands is 24, 8, 7, and 9. So after that, there's Germany, Austria, France, Sweden, Switzerland. All winter sports teams. So the winter sports are finally about done. I've never been a huge Winter Olympics fan. I actually didn't really find myself watching all that much this year. The good thing is that with the multiple channels now, unlike back, even 10 years ago or so, or even a little bit more, you have more options, so you're not always watching figure skating. The Olympic television coverage is always geared towards women. It's just the way it is, because women spend more time watching that stuff, and so you're going to market to them. But I do like that there's multiple channels now, because you can switch off. You can kind of catch some of the oddball sports like curling, which has actually become quite popular, and
it's intense.
Well, it's intense, and it's really just shuffleboard on ice.
Yeah,
but you find yourself getting drawn into it. I was like, the last round of Winter Olympics, I found myself watching it and getting like really into it, and I'm like, what am I doing? I sat here to watch it as a joke, and then I actually started getting into it.
Yeah, this past week I watched, sat there with my mom for about an hour and a half and watched the Switzerland and China game. Two
right?
people I don't give a damn about.
Right.
It was just such
it sucks you in.
It is.
So
it's crazy.
You try to watch it and to make a joke of it, and damn it if you don't get into it. But I really didn't do that this year. I didn't until with the exception of hockey game this morning and a couple of the hockey games during the week that were on at noon. I kind of chimed in. I put it on my computer at work. My computer, not my work computer, and had it up. Had
to be specific there.
Yeah. I really, other than that, I had the Olympics on my side TV in my living room. I have multiple TVs in my living room, and I kind of put certain things on the side that I can just kind of keep an eye on but I don't really intently watch. And that's pretty much where the Olympics were for the last 2 weeks. We're on my side TV, and honestly, I might as well not even had it on, because I really just didn't pay that much attention, to be honest. I don't know, I just didn't care. I really just didn't care, and I think that the focus was more on the things that went wrong with these Olympics rather than the things that went right. So I can't sit here and speak on all the sports. I did catch some of the other stuff, a little bit yesterday. They had that slalom snowboarding. Had the one kid that won a gold medal for Russia, but he's an American, and he decided to compete for Russia because he married a Russian woman or a Russian snowboarder. I got issues with that. I understand if you're going to do something like that because you're not good enough to make your own squad or whatever, but this kid clearly was good enough to be on the U.S. team. Are you seriously going to compete for the Russians because your wife's a Russian snowboarder too? You want to train together, I suppose, but I don't know. I got a real issue with that. Don't ask me. I just, compete for your own country, or or have her compete for the U.S. Grow some nutsack, boy.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I mean, it shows who the man in that relationship is. Right.
But I will say this, now that the Olympics are over, it's not good news for Obama, because now the unemployment rate's going to go back up. All these snowboarders are going to go back to not having jobs, and So the unemployment rate's going to go up. Bad attempt at a joke, but anyway.
Yeah, you were gonna try it. Yeah,
I was going to roll with that, but whatever. It's not going to work.
If I didn't get it, and I guarantee a lot of people at home didn't get it either.
Oh, it's not that he didn't get it. I really didn't spew it out that very well.
Oh yeah.
I'm tired this morning. It was a long day yesterday.
What'd you do yesterday?
Well, I only got about 5 hours sleep to start with, and then I spent about 6 hours cleaning out my garage.
Yeah, I know. I called him yesterday.
By myself.
I called him yesterday about something going on with the show.
Yeah.
I'm cleaning my garage. Leave me alone.
Pretty much is what it was. It's like, dude, I'm trying to get something done. So from about when I finally got off my ass to start, I actually started cleaning something else, and then I realized I just need to tackle the garage. So I did. And from about 2 o'clock till about 8 o'clock last night, that's what I was doing. And then I was up till a little after 2 o'clock this morning.
For what? Why?
Well, kind of preparing for the show, and just because that's what I do. I stay up late. So
He's a night owl.
I am.
But then he doesn't sleep. You don't sleep.
I really don't. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I just, even if I try to sleep, I still wake up. It's like this morning. Even though I didn't go to bed till after 2:30, I still got up at 7:30. I kind of forced myself back to sleep a little bit and ended up getting up about 8:45. But nonetheless, no matter how much I want to sleep, I just can't seem to do it. So, whatever. It's fine by me.
You should get that checked.
Well, no, I mean...
It's a bad attempt at a joke.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
Dr. Jellyfinger over here.
Yeah,
telling me what to do.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Put the rubber gloves down, please. At any rate, yeah, I don't know. I don't need any more than a few hours sleep. I may not be up at the top of my game all the time, but I don't understand how some people can sleep for 8, 9, 10 hours. My wife's kind of like that. I get home sometimes 8:30. She's already in bed. Granted, she gets up at 5, but that's 8, 9 hours. I can't sleep that long. I don't know how people do it. Even though I want to do it, I can't. So, somebody please tell me how you can sleep that long.
Call in 813-639-8255.
Exactly.
Tell us how you can sleep longer.
Yeah, the last time I could sleep that long is back in the days when I drank, and that's not happening anymore. So maybe that's why. Too much stuff going on. Too many things to do in the daytime.
Real quick, thank you, Austin Burnett. Just gave us a like on the 2 Cent Sports and Entertainment Show Facebook page. Thank you, Austin.
I see that. That gets us right back up to. We lost one this morning for some reason, so it's good. Get that back up to 190. We need 10 more likes. 10 more likes to get to 200 people. So if you're listening and you haven't liked our Facebook page, 2 Cents Sports and Entertainment Show, please go on there and give us a like. We'd like to get back up there. Hold on, we lost a couple more.
What?
Now we're down to... All right, we were at 190 this morning.
What the hell's going on, Scuba?
We just got one like, now it's down to 188.
Shit.
What's going on, people?
I don't know, man. This is...
How are people dropping off? There's another one that just liked. Mika Grace, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mika. I'm so confused.
That's weird. Well, at least we're back up to 189. I wish it would show you who drops off too.
That's exactly so we can go and hate on them. Be like, you jackass.
No. I want to find out why.
Yeah.
I want to know why. I don't. Oh well. At any rate. You see, I lost my train of thought now. So
yeah.
I'm wrapped up in all that. So. But so that's the Olympics. I mean, if you want to call in and talk about the Olympics, anything that you saw, anything that you liked, or give your take on it, feel free to give us a call. Like Zach said, 813-639-8255. Or you can message us on our Facebook page and give a like if you haven't. 2 Cent Sports and Entertainment Show. And transition. I don't want to transition into this subject right from there, though.
Let's find a good transition.
I'll tell you what. Let's get back on the topic of the human knockout game here, Ray Rice. Many of you probably have heard and seen, and it's not good, folks. And Ray Rice and caught on. No, well, the entire act itself, I don't know if that was caught on video or not.
It was. I actually had it and lost it.
There's video of him like dragging her out of the elevator like after it happened.
You're talking about the actual attack?
Yeah, singing the swing on her and shit. I think it exists. I just don't think that's going to be released to the public, at least not at this point.
Probably not.
But at any rate, if for some reason you haven't heard about this yet, Ray Rice, well, his girlfriend was actually arrested too somehow for a domestic situation in Atlantic City casino. Ray Rice, like I said, just decided he was going to play the knockout game on his girlfriend and hauled off and knocked her cold. And the video that they have released has shown him kind of dragging her out the elevator and trying to get her out of there, and then trying to pick her up. And if you haven't seen it, and I think Zach's trying to bring it up here.
Yeah, I'm also pulling up when we get to it the quote from Ozzie Newsome, who is, I believe, the Ravens general manager.
Yeah,
pulling that up on the press conference, and he basically said, because they asked him, what's it looking like? It doesn't look good, is what he said.
Well, he said in any of those situations, it's very concerning.
Yeah,
concerning.
Really
concerning? You think?
I mean, if
are you going to play that?
I can. You want me to?
All right.
Here we go.
In any of those situations, it's very concerning. But up until we get all of the facts, we will allow the process to run its course. I think John said it best yesterday. We will let the facts determine what the consequences will be.
Yeah, that's about as plain and simple as it gets.
Here it comes.
I did online just like everybody else did, and it doesn't look good.
I'm going to reserve all my comments up until I had a chance to talk with Ray. But what I've gotten, the whole video needs to be reviewed. Yeah, it does. But Ozzy, if the one thing that you can say is that it's concerning, it's a little bit more than concerning, my friend. Your star running back hauled off and knocked out his girlfriend. Now, granted, the one thing we don't know is whether or not she was taking whacks at him as well. Not necessarily making excuses by any means. There's no excuse to, knock your woman out like that. What are you doing over there?
I was readjusting my microphone, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't on, so I slapped the living hell out of it.
I saw that. I was like, are you having a fight over there?
Yeah, this is my girlfriend. And I'm Ray Rice.
Well, that's what I thought. I'm like, we're talking about a guy beating his girlfriend, and then you're sitting over there smacking the mic. I mean,
you bitch.
Jesus. At any rate, this is a pretty bad situation. I know this kind of really throws a wrench into the Ravens' plans too, as they approach the draft, because we all know that they were needing a left tackle in the worst way. They probably need receivers and a couple other positions. But now the Ravens probably need to start looking at running back.
Yeah.
Ray Rice is going to be suspended. There's no question about it. In this case, he doesn't have to be convicted of any crime. I mean, clearly clearly the one thing we all know is that this did indeed happen, and it did occur. What his suspension will be, that's obviously going to be up to the league offices and Roger Goodell and in the NFL, but that's definitely going to throw a wrench into the Ravens' plans. But to me, this is absolutely appalling and disgusting. And I would say that if you're in the act of having to defend yourself or somebody else attacking you, whether it be a male or female, you have every right to defend yourself and do what you got to do. But in this particular instance, compare him to her. There's also a limitation on the actions that you can take to defend yourself, and this is definitely not one of them. And I'm not going to condone this action whatsoever. There's just no excuse. And if you have to haul off and hit your girlfriend for whatever you're arguing about or anything like that, then you're not a real man. There's other ways to do it. I mean, anybody else got any opinions on this? I'd really like to know if there's. I'd like to find one person that would actually be able to defend this and try to justify it.
Yeah, and there's no volume, by the way, Scuba. I have the actual surveillance video if you would like me to play that for everybody as well.
If you haven't seen it, yeah, might as well go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, there's no volume, so we can sit here and comment on it as we please.
As for this latest hit and run, There were a lot of people outside, and he didn't try to stop nothing. He didn't care.
Well, now what do I do with her? Let's see. Did I leave my cell phone behind? Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, let me take a picture. Selfie. Honey, smile. Honey, I need you to smile for me. Come here. Let me take... Sir? Sir, what are you doing? She's drunk, sir. Let me get her feet out the way so this elevator door can close. But, sir, why do you have the camera in your phone? Because it's pretty funny. I think it's funny. Look, she's trying to... See? Look, she's fine. She's fine, sir. See, I got it. Everything's cool. Honey, the guy's trying to... Sir, she doesn't look like she's fine. But look, she's holding the elevator door open, sir. What do you mean she's not fine? Jeez, come on, man. I'm paraphrasing, but I kind of think that's probably what happened.
Just paraphrasing just a little bit, right?
I could be wrong. That may or not been of what actually transpired in that conversation there. But not really trying to make light of it, folks. I mean, listen, this guy doesn't deserve anything but jokes being played on him, and that carry of his girlfriend out the elevator was probably about the longest carry he had all season. I was with a football in his hand. So yeah, I'm telling you. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I honestly, I don't even know if there's a precedence on this. To be honest, where do you draw the line on how long this guy gets suspended? I mean, is this indefinite? I don't know. Probably not. If it probably is under the league conduct, I guess Roger Goodell can do it as long as he wants. It could be indefinite with certain requirements. The classic anger management and counseling and all that crap. And then I suppose that once he completes X amount of visits or what have you, then they'll look at it and say, okay, you can come back. So it may be something like that where they do an indefinite suspension and don't put any time frame on it, like 4 games or something like that. So be interesting. I was certainly wrong about the Smarts suspension for Oklahoma State for pushing the fan. I was definitely wrong about that. So not to put that in the same comparison, because it's not, but this is an off the field incident, and we'll see we're just gonna have to see what happens. And I already know I got one Ravens fan friend of mine. She's a big Ravens fan, and she says I'm embarrassed. I just don't even want my jersey anymore. And well, I would hope not. To me, this is about this. This is about almost on the same grounds as Michael Vick situation.
Really?
Well, I said almost. I mean, it's pretty much a defense. I don't want to say defenseless woman. I don't know anything about this woman. She, for all I know, she could be, a world karate champion or something. I don't know, but
that you could be trained at the Tang Soo Do Center.
That's correct.
Just wanted to give a little plug to your school there.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. So, I don't know, man. It dumbfounds me to no end how people just do this kind of thing. It just makes no sense to me, and it just makes me so angry because there's nothing I can do about it. Except not make sure that I don't champion this guy in any such way, and that at every opportunity I get, I'm going to poke fun of him, make fun of him, and shame this gentleman. And
well, let me tell you, if he does end up coming back this season, and remember, folks, Scuba has Bucs season tickets, and I am now the proud holder of some season tickets as well.
What?
Yeah. My dad and somebody else at his work are splitting tickets, so I'll have 4 and the other guy will have 4, and I have chosen to go to the Ravens game, so I dare Ray Rice to run out of that tunnel without me bitching at him.
Well, I'll be right there at that tunnel. So.
I know, you'll be like, wife beater! Girlfriend beater!
Yep. I did. Yeah, that's right. You're right. I forgot about that. The Ravens will be at the Bucs Stadium this year, so I'll be prepared.
Yeah, what's great about this, guys, is for the ones that don't know Scuba really well, like I do, or haven't seen him at a sports event, he's crazy.
Not like I used to be. I'm actually pretty tame now, for the most part.
You think so?
Compared to where I used to be, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm nothing like I used to be, believe me. Yeah, I'm a lot more calm and tame now than I used to be, but hey, I still get mine in, trust me.
Oh, he does.
Me. Especially at the Storm games, and you know that you've seen that.
Yeah, we've seen that.
So you've seen that at the Storm games. So compound that by about four times of that a little bit, and then with alcohol, and this is back in the day, like I said, when I used to drink, then you'd really see what I'm talking about. What are you doing over there?
I'm having camera trouble, damn it. These things don't register the way I'd like them to. It doesn't.
It's so distracting. I try to get going on a thought, and you're just over there, you're beating on the mic, and you're flipping things around, and...
Sorry.
My producer, ladies and gentlemen, he's letting me down.
It's okay. I apologize.
But at any rate, yes, with the Ravens coming into town this year, should it be at a point where Ray Rice has returned, I'm going to have to go back to my old ways. And he's going to get a few choice words from me. But you know what? Maybe I won't be so lucky. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, what do you mean? Like he is in jail and won't be able to
play?
Well,
no, he'll still be under suspension or something of that rather. So I wouldn't be, in other words, I wouldn't be lucky enough to be able to say anything to him.
I apologize real quick. Just wanted to give everyone a quick update. UConn baseball is up 4-0 right now. #BleedBlue.
Very nice. If they win that one, that'll be their third in a row. They've won their last 2 days. Their bats broke out yesterday. They won 11-2 yesterday. They had a big win over Wichita State on Friday.
Eric Yavarone, what was it? Hit a double in overtime.
Extra innings. A walk-off extra inning win over Wichita State, 2-1 on Friday night. A very big win for UConn, actually. Wichita State's, when it comes to college baseball, is actually a top-notch program. They're usually in the College World Series every year, or at least in contention.
Yeah.
So it was a big win after going 0-3 last week. It was just not a good week for UConn baseball last weekend, but this weekend they seem to be turning it around a little bit. And it's funny, they had on their post about the 2-1 win, and Carson had made a pitcher for the UConn Huskies. Had made a comment out there, and I said, "Oh, great going, guys! That's a big win. Now, you got to get the bats awake." And I posted a picture of Joe Boo, and if you're familiar with the movie Major League, dating myself a little bit, Joe Boo is the little voodoo doll, and they did the little thing to wake up the bats, and sure enough, they go for 11 runs yesterday, and now they've got 4 up today. So keep it up, guys. Keep rallying, and we'll see you soon because they will be back around the area the first week of March.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What are the USF?
No, they are actually Gainesville. They will be at Florida. They're actually in Winter Haven as well, but that's going to be during the week. But they will be in Gainesville on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I want to say that's like March 7th, 8th, and 9th. Or 8th, 9th, and 10th. Anyway, right around those dates. So I may have to make a trip over to Gainesville. And I think your mother may be interested in doing that as well.
Probably so. She wants to see actually UConn beat Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, how's their do you know anything about their baseball program this year?
I know, not so much this year, but they're generally pretty good every year. So I would imagine that'll be a tough matchup, but it'll be fun to go over
the
there.
only thing that pisses me off about Florida is now they're the number 1 seed, or the number 1 team in the country, and it pisses me off.
Oh, you're talking about college basketball?
Yes,
now.
I am.
Transitioning from college baseball into college basketball.
And it pisses me off that Florida, in Syracuse... Suck-a-cuse has lost, what was it, 2 straight?
2 straight now.
2 straight.
After going 25-0, and there's Wichita State's now, speaking of Wichita State, 29-0 in basketball right now, the only undefeated team remaining.
Yeah, but you know what? Look at their schedule. It's like the Ohio State of basketball. There's no...
Oh, I know.
There's no schedule. They played Drake, and then they played, who they playing today? Like some school like Bradford?
Bradley Braves. They're tournament teams. Wichita State's good. They're good. Same thing with Florida. Florida's schedule's pretty weak. as well.
Oh yeah, minus Kentucky. Everybody in the SEC's garbage.
Pretty much. And they've struggled their last 2 games. I mean, they should. Auburn had them on the ropes the other day. Ole Miss gave them a heck of a game yesterday. Not to take away too much. They still win. Don't get me wrong. The problem is like, when you go into the tournament when it counts, and Florida's pretty good about being an Elite 8 team almost every year for the last few years. So you can kind of count on them being there. Unlike some of them guys that I just flashed. So Florida will probably they're going to get a good seed. I don't believe that they're the best team in the country. But at the same time, I don't know that I can tell you who is the best team in the country. Even when Syracuse was 25-0, they had won. They were living on the edge too. They had to win back-to-back games on last-second shots. And had they not had those last-second shots in those 2 games, Syracuse actually would have lost 4 games in a row by now. So it looks like Syracuse is finally coming back down to earth, and they're being exposed a little bit. It's going to be an interesting tournament, man. I just don't see there's any single team out there that's clear-cut number 1 or the best team. I mean, yeah, Florida's only got 2 losses. I mean, Arizona's only got 2 losses. Syracuse only has 2 losses. But you know what? I still look at those teams and I'm just like, everybody's got a weakness, Even UConn, they got a game today. They got 5 losses. Four of those 5 losses, UConn had 10-point leads in every single one of those games, and they just don't have a way of closing out games, which is quite annoying.
It is.
You're dominating team, and you just can't hold a lead, and the games end up being closer than they have to. However, they're reminding me a lot of the 2011 UConn team, which didn't have a whole lot of expectations for. Of course, we all know that they ended up winning the national championship that year, but they had finished 9th in the Big East. They had 9 losses. It just weren't. It was the same kind of thing. They had some teams. They were playing a lot of close games. They had teams on the ropes and couldn't hold leads, which is why they had as many losses as they did. But they still made it in the tournament, and then hit the Big East tournament, and then the big dance, and just went on a roll. And Kemba Walker went off, and they ended up winning the whole darn thing. I'm seeing a lot of similarities to that 2011 team that I do this 2014 UConn team. Just changing characters. Shabazz Napier's kind of one of those guys now. He's kind of starting to turn it up a notch. They're starting to get revenge on some of the teams they lost to earlier. One of them is SMU. They lost to them early, so they'll get their revenge chance against them today. It'll be interesting to see where they end up, and they're going to be in it for sure. Of course, UConn beat out of Florida's 2 losses. UConn is one of them. Thank you very much. Although it was early in the season, it doesn't matter. They still beat them. So I am looking forward to March Madness starting. There's some other teams in there. I mean, there's a couple Big Ten teams that can make some noise. Wisconsin, Iowa, pretty strong teams, and you still got Michigan State, obviously. No matter how much you think that they're out of it, somehow when the tournament comes around, Michigan State just turns into a Final Four beast, it seems, almost every year. So, it's going to be a wide open tournament. It's no wonder that Warren Buffett's offering up $1 billion to anybody that can pick every single game in the brackets this year, and I'm guaranteeing that no one's going to do it. So I just don't know how that's even possible.
No. Are you going to try? I believe a couple of the rounds, I think the second and third, are going to be at the Amway. Are you going to hit those up?
I hadn't even thought about that, and chances are probably mostly sold out. If not, they're going to be more expensive. I think it depends on who's there.
Yeah.
Obviously, if UConn ends up in that bracket for some reason, which is quite a possibility, actually, since that's one of the courts that they do play on, I may have to pop on over there.
Well, the ticket prices?
It depends. I'm not going to pay that much. I'm pretty good about getting tickets fairly inexpensive for most things, and if I can't, then I just don't go. I mean, It's that simple. I see some, I do have my limitations on things that I'll go and see and things I'll go and pay for. And, I sometimes you just got to say when.
Well, and speaking of events, I'm actually, guys, heading to Saliva this upcoming Saturday, March 1st, with my buddy Joe. I like them. I like their music, and you told me they were okay live.
Yeah, they're okay. I mean, I'm not
nothing like that Slipknot concert we went to.
Well, no, that's for sure. I mean, look, they're good. I like some of their stuff. I mean, I'm just not a huge fan, and I know you asked me to go, and it's just not one of those groups that I definitely got to go see them. I've already seen them, so I'm good. They don't have enough material for me to really want to go see an entire show of them, and if they're in with other groups or something where they only get to play a select set for about 45 minutes or so, that's pretty good. But
just them.
You'll have fun. They're all right. I'm just
Well, I mean, I only paid $20.
Oh yeah, you can't beat that.
But and again, speaking of events, if everything works out okay, I'm hoping to go with Scuba to the Wednesday UConn USF basketball game. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And men or women?
Men. Women were last Sunday.
Okay. Well,
remember, I went there after this.
That's right. Yeah, and they kicked USF's ass.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a game.
And I plan on another ass whooping.
I felt like I was at the Gamp. I mean, I'm serious. It was a pretty good crowd, but it was all UConn people. All UConn people. USF, I mean, look, bottom line, people don't care about college basketball down here, so probably us sitting here talking about it's probably not got a whole lot of attention grabbing right now, but I like it. I enjoy it, and I'm going to talk about it. But people here in this area, obviously, they don't care about it, and I've actually been to 2 USF women's games this year because they also played Central Connecticut earlier in the season, and of course I went to Central, and so I went there for that, and there were about 5 people there for that game.
Was that including yourself?
Oh, 6.
Oh, okay.
No, they certainly don't support that team at all. But
did Central Connecticut win?
No, they lost by about 40. But that was to be expected. Central sucks at everything pretty much, except for like swimming and cross country and track and shit. They're really not good at any major sports. But at any rate, so I went there last weekend. UConn absolutely dominated USF women from the get-go. However, they played sloppy, and I'm pretty sure Coach Uriema was not happy. I know he wasn't happy. You could clearly see he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with the effort that they had out there, and that's just it. Sometimes, I mean, this UConn women's team is so good that they can just coast and go through the motions, and that's pretty much what they were doing. To USF's benefit. But what I was getting at anyway, not to talk too much about that game because really nobody cares about women's basketball. I don't really care that much about it, to be honest, but there were like everybody in the scene. I mean, it was probably I could probably count the USF fans on my hands. Now, if they did not have their band and their cheerleaders there, you could count all their fans on their hand. Other than that, it was probably all UConn fans. It was kind of weird, kind of bizarre. And I suspect on Wednesday night it'll be very much the same. There'll be more, for men's basketball. But even I've been to some of the USF men's basketball games, and they still don't even care about that team either. Whether they're good or bad. People could say, well, they're not very good. And, well, that's true. They're not. But they've been pretty competitive. Even last year, made the tournament sort of, and people just still don't support the team at all. And they got a great facility now. Now that they've redone that Sundome, I encourage you to go out there now. It's very nice. You can actually walk around now. There's room, real seats. It's clean. Unlike that disgusting mess that they had up before. You couldn't even go but one person at a time down, in walking around the stadium. It was just bad traffic patterns. It wasn't very wide, and it was dirty. Seats were broken, stands were broken, and now they're all individual seats. Everything's solid. I mean, it's really nice. I encourage people to get out there. USF's putting a lot of money into their sports programs. I mean, their softball and baseball complex is actually very.
Oh, their softball complex is absolutely
it's amazing,
beautiful.
It's amazing, and again, no one supports it, and no one goes, and but they're nice facilities, and USF's putting a lot of money into this, and hoping that people are going to show up. I'm not a big USF supporter, but I've probably been to more USF events than a lot of people that probably go there. And it's pretty sad because these facilities are nice. It's a good time. It's fairly inexpensive. Not fairly, it's inexpensive. It's not, I mean, like that. Even that UConn women's basketball game last week was like $7 for Christ's sake.
Wow. That's how actually they charge for high school games.
Right. I mean, and you go to the softball or the baseball games over there, same thing. It's only a few bucks. I mean, if you eat or something before you go, you don't have to worry about spending too much more on food.
Because that's really where sports really make their money anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, I spent as much. I mean, I got 2 tickets for the game last week, and I ended up eating one because I didn't use the other one. But I spent, so I got like 2 tickets for $20, and I ended up spending like $20 on food. And it was probably the worst and most unhealthy lunch I've ever had. I got one of their little mini pizzas, which actually wasn't too bad. One of their little personal mini pizzas. I got their little nachos with that fake cheese whiz, and a bag of M&Ms and a drink.
Jesus.
Pretty gross.
You should calm down over there.
I was hungry, dude. You understand, when I left, all I ate when I was doing the show last week here was the same thing I had today. About 4 or 5 little cubes of cheese, and about 6 slices of apples with caramel on it. That's all I had to eat. By the time I got out to that game, which started at 4, I got out there at 3 o'clock. I was hungry. I was very hungry. So,
and speaking of people that are hungry for wins, and I thought that was a pretty cool transition. What I posted it on Facebook, was I didn't believe Jim Boeheim deserved to be ejected. Yeah, maybe what he did, he should have been ejected, but the call was bullshit.
The call was bullshit, but what's that got to do with him being ejected?
Well, I just think it was. Well, look, if the call was made correctly,
all right. Well, play the clip. Okay, but doesn't. All right, we'll talk about it in a minute. Play the clip.
It has to go. I have to click the button first.
Fair.
Such bullshit. You go, coach. You go, coach. Yeah, that is bullshit. You go, coach.
Well, just before that, see, look. That's why he gets ejected.
Yeah, but you know what?
Listen, you can't go out in the middle of the court, get in a referee's face, and start yelling at him and calling him names.
But you know what? That ref is awful.
Yes, the call was bullshit. It's a borderline charge call. It was a bad homer call for puke, and I refused to call them by their real name. The kid clearly stepped in front of the Syracuse guy, and he hadn't quite established his feet, and then they still called a charge. The call is very questionable, but you cannot do that, Zach. You can't.
I understand.
It doesn't matter how crappy the call is, and I know how you react with crappy calls, but
I react very professionally.
Whatever. There are certain things you just can't do or say to a referee as a coach or player, and as a fan, you can say whatever. And I mean, even that you got to be careful with in some sports, because they can still throw flags against your team for misconduct. Found that out almost in an arena game last year, but.
That was entertaining.
Yeah, but you cannot do that, Zach. I don't understand why you don't think he should have been ejected.
Look, I don't.
He took his coat off, or started to, realize he shouldn't do that, but put it back on and ran to the middle of the court and started pointing and yelling at the referee and saying all sorts of
and like I said,
French words.
And like I said, I think that he should have been ejected for what he did, but I think if the call was made correctly by that god-awful official, and let me tell you, it is true, college basketball has the worst freaking referees in any sport.
Arena football?
Oh, well, okay.
Well,
let me tell you, another thing about arena football, Steve, is Scuba actually almost got a player to come over and fight. Do you remember that? It was some big fat guy.
Yep.
What was... shit, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember either. But
Number 99. 99. Holy shit, that guy was huge.
I think it was Finch.
Miles Finch?
Finch from Wildcats. Way before your time.
Okay. But no, he came over and he was like,
If you haven't seen that movie Wildcats, by the way, as well, since I mentioned it, you should see it.
That fat guy, he's like, man, what you gonna do? And Steve's like, I'm right here. And I was like, this is awesome.
Quite like that.
No, but it was pretty entertaining. I wish I got a video
I'm
of
right
that
here.
shit.
I'm not going anywhere.
That's right. And that was really entertaining. And he went up, he's like, yo, man, I'm sorry. And he's like, oh, no, you're good. You lost. Actually,
no, yeah, we did. Listen, I'll get on a guy. I usually will find one guy and I try to ride him most of the game, or if there's a couple guys out there that are running their mouths or whatever, I'll get on them. That's just what I do. But when the day's over, as long as things don't go awry, and I've had that happen a couple times.
There, chirp, chirp.
Yeah, well, they do. They chirp and chirp and chirp. So I chirp right back at them, but. I'll say, hey, all right, hey, man, it was all good, and we all trash talk, and it's cool, and for the most part, and if I get a chance, I'll say, hey, man, it was all, they understand, and they're the same too. But I've had a couple times where these guys really really get nasty, and I'll get nasty right back with you. You don't intimidate me.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, he's been trained by the Tang Soo Do Center over there
Tampa Bay Tang Soo Do Center in South Tampa.
Just I'm trying to help you out here. Just trying to throw in the little. But anyway, tell us about a time where a player actually got like right up in your face and was like getting ready to kill you.
It's come close a couple of times. Not necessarily any fault of my own. I probably had it coming back in the day. It's happened a couple times, but ultimately, they're not going to do it for the most part. Now, there was an instance about 4 or 5 years ago, and this actually wasn't involving me. Anybody familiar with Arena Football League? And if you're not, you should. And if you listen to the show, you'll become familiar with it. I encourage you to check it out. But anyway, Orlando is Tampa's biggest rivalry, and just a few years ago, one of the Orlando players actually went into the stands.
I heard about that.
And there was a little bit of a ruckus down in our stands. And it was I wasn't on that end at that time. And now, that's the side I'm on now. So it can happen. It just, but for me, I think one of the best times I had now, this is going back a ways. As you know, where my seats are at the Bucks games, I'm right at the visiting team's tunnel, as we were talking about before. And it was like, I think like one of the first or second year that the new stadium here in Tampa was open. And of course I'm right there.
Now, have you had those seats the whole time?
Yes, I moved up about 2 rows last season. So I'm actually now in row B as opposed to D. But I was in D since the stadium opened in 97 or 98, whatever it was. Excuse me. And now I'm in row B, but it's pretty much, yes, since the stadium opened, I've been there.
Okay.
So this is going back to the first year it was open, I believe, and Minnesota Vikings were coming to town, and at that time Chris Carter was still playing for the Vikings, and anybody familiar with Chris Carter knows that he is one of the biggest trash talkers in the NFL ever.
Yes, he was.
Running his mouth constantly. Now, again, understand back then, I run my mouth a lot, and I'll talk a lot of stuff, and I don't generally get personal. All my stuff that I say is not personal. I don't personally attack an individual. I might attack the school they went to, and I might say stuff. I do my best not to curse. That kind of. It's just good-natured trash talk without getting personal and without cursing. It's difficult sometimes, but it happens. But anyway, back then I was drinking a lot and I probably wasn't quite that courteous. So knowing that Chris Carter was a big trash talker, I took it upon myself to try to give him a little bit dose of his own medicine. So he and I are jarring, going in and out of the tunnel. Pre-game warm-ups. He goes back in the tunnel. They go back in before they come back out again. So I'm getting him on the way there, and then of course halftime, they're coming back in, and they go back out, and all game. He and I are just going back and forth at it, and I couldn't even honestly tell you everything I was saying, and quite honestly, some of it was probably inappropriate. My point being was that he and I were just going at it the whole game, and at the end of the game, I actually think the Vikings ended up winning that game. I might be wrong on that, but at the end of the game, he was coming back through the tunnel, and I kind of just looked at him, and I kind of gave him this look, and just kind of pointed at him. He's standing right there in the tunnel, and he's getting it back. I'm like, I said, "You're all right by me." And he said, "Hey man, I can appreciate that." And he walked up over, and we slapped hands and was like, kind of like, "All right, it's all good."
That's really cool because Chris Carter is one of the best receivers.
Oh, no doubt.
Ever.
No doubt. And I think I must have been pretty courteous or that because, otherwise he probably would have been a little more pissed off and not been willing to kind of do that. So I think I want to take away from that he was appreciative of it and, kind of got a kick out of it and so forth. I've had other instances where I've had I can't even remember who it was on the Bears, and this is going back a while too. And I can't even remember the player, to be honest with you, and I don't think it was anybody big, but he and I were going back and forth, each time he'd come through the tunnel and so forth. And at the end of the game, I think the Bears had actually, I think that was a game like the Bears won like 6-3 or something ridiculous like that. And he and I are jarring back and forth, and I'm just yelling and this and that. And he had the gall to try to report and say that I spit on him. So the next thing I know, security cops are coming down and grabbing me. And
what?
Yeah, exactly. And
asshole.
Now, I did not spit on the guy. First of all, if the only way I might have spit on him is while I was yelling, spit might have flown out of my mouth or something. But I did not spit on the guy. That's one thing I do not do. I don't spit on players, although I'm close enough where I can not only hit them on the top of the head. That's how close I am. I could spit on. I don't do that. That's just disgusting.
Yes, it is.
It's demeaning, and it's just not appropriate in almost any instance. So it's nothing I would ever do. So they came down and they decided they were going to grab me and chill. I know.
Sorry.
This is my last thought, and then we'll just relax. So you're making me lose my train of thought. Your little antics over there.
You got spit on.
Anyway, so the cops, security came down. They wanted to go ahead and take me downstairs, and I don't know if they were planning on arresting me or just giving me a ticket or what they were doing, but they took me downstairs to where all the people are in the they do have a little holding cell, by the way, in the stadium. And not a cell, but, well, it's kind of a cell. Anyway, I get down there, and thankfully, I am friends with one of the state troopers that works my corner. And he knows me pretty well. I mean, from all the games and so forth. That's how I know, how I know him. And he happened to be there, and he was like, "What is he here for, guys?" And they were trying to tell him. He's like, "That's crazy. He never did anything like that." He said, "I was watching that whole thing." He said, "He did not do that." And I just looked at him, and I said, "See?" I said I would never do that, and I looked over and I said thank you, and he said let him go, and they did. They let me go. So that was like the closest thing outside of other instances I've had at other places.
I like it.
New Orleans, but I've gotten in further trouble in the past. But at any rate, with that in my stories, I could tell all sorts of stories from back in the day, but we are up at the top of the hour right now, so it is time that we take a break here from our sponsors. We're going to work on trying to get our guest, Adrian McPherson, on the line and talk to him a little bit. Former Florida State quarterback, several teams in Arena Football and Canadian Football League. So we'll hope to get him on here. We're trusting my producer to come through this week, and we'll be back in just a few. Thanks.
Are you in need of legal assistance? Michael G. Butash, attorney at law, may be able to help. A solo practitioner who will provide you the individual attention needed to walk you through your case. Attorney Butash can help you in areas of criminal defense, personal injury, DUI offense, drug possession, and more. Call today for a free initial consultation. Pick up the phone and dial 727-478-4324.
End of the world, and I stare into the abyss. I look back and wipe a tear from my eye and reminisce about the times that I had. How could they have been better? Maybe have my now, write my name and thank you letter. See, I think about my daughter, how she'll never know her dad. I gaze upon my shoes and see the pair my father had. Should I be mad or maybe sad? Nah, I should be glad. If I was in her life, it'd be worse than the one she had. Cheating on my wife, it was my new 9 to 5. I gave the clap so many times, applause fills my mind. I'm a king on the throne. Reality, I'm a drone. If home is where the heart is, then I truly am alone. You wanna know a man, walk a mile in his shoes. Don't be so quick to pass judgment on the path that he chooses. This is my story and the monstrous you. So where's my happy ending, cause it's long overdue. I'm tired of this life, constantly burdened by strife. Eternally joining me like husband and wife. I am the alpha and omega, beginning to the end. As death hand approaches, let that second act begin. Trials and tribulations that we facing as a nation. Got us praying for a savior, cause the end is what we facing. Have a good time, it was a good ride while it lasted. Can't afford to end the win is what we are. I hope that I last it.
Have led off today with a feeling so simple. Me. So why, with feelings like these, do we feel we're simple? Me.
Okay, and we are back, ready to talk here, and I believe we have our guest on the line. This is Mr. McPherson.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Adrian. How are you doing?
Doing well.
You don't mind if I call you Adrian, do you?
You can call me whatever you want to call me.
All right. Listen, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today.
No problem.
Been a big fan of yours, and I'm an FSU guy and a Tampa Bay Storm ticket holder. I had the seats right next to your bench last season.
Okay.
But
Like I said, Adrian, you'd probably remember us if you saw us in person.
But, anyway, on the line with us, Adrian McPherson, a former, I hate to use the word former, but unfortunately, former Florida Mr. Basketball and Mr. Florida from Bradenton Southeast High School right here in the Tampa Bay area. I believe you were actually the first athlete to have both honors in Florida history, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I had a lot of help along the way. It wasn't all me. I had a bunch of great teammates that just put me in a position to be successful.
No doubt about it. And I remember, being an FSU fan and season ticket holder and so forth. That we were really excited to get you to go there, and you played 2 seasons at Florida State. Didn't get a whole lot of time as a freshman, but as a sophomore, you really started to come on, and. Look, we all know what happened in, the 2003, and I'm not even going to touch on that because honestly, I'm sure you don't want to talk about it, and we don't need to talk about it. But with the short time that you did have there at Florida State, tell me a little bit about what it was like, being there, what brought you there, and so forth.
The biggest thing was, let's just say it was my mom. I started playing football in the 10th grade. Really didn't care for it. I was more of a basketball guy. Mm-hmm. Went to University of North Carolina, and I actually committed. And I called my mom, and she wasn't on that visit with me. And as a 10-year-old kid, I just fell in love with Carolina's colors. And, so I called my mom, and I was like, hey, Mom, I committed to North Carolina. And, she was like, no, you didn't. I'm a Bobby Bowden fan, and you're going to Florida State. So I said, okay. And once Coach Bowden and of course, Coach Bobby Bowden and Jeff Bowden and Daryl Dickey at the time, once they came in and spoke to me and, told me how they felt about me as a player, because at that time I didn't realize I was a good football player because I had just started playing. Then I just trusted and believed in the system that they had in place. And when I got there, I just fell in love with it. It was family, loved my teammates, loved, the campus, and of course, how could you not love coming out on Saturdays and watching throw the tomahawk in the middle of the field? So I had an amazing time there, and I still consider that home because it's the only place that I played college football, and it's the only place that I wanted to play college football.
Right. Yeah, and you definitely got to listen to Mom, right?
Definitely. Hey, Mom runs the house.
That's right. She brought you in the world. You're going to do what Mom says.
Exactly.
I understand that. And there's a lot of us too that still think that you're a Florida State guy, and hey, again, we won't bring up the details. We know what happened in 2003, and people that aren't, if they want to check it out, fine. We all make mistakes. You're a young man, and I've made multiple mistakes in my younger life. So without detailing what happened, what did you learn, or what did you take away from that experience?
Just right and wrong. I came up in a great family, and my parents had always taught me right from wrong. So at the end of the day, I made a poor decision. And, I tell people all the time I had never made a poor decision before that. I've never made a poor decision after that. I come from a great parents. My parents had done everything in their power to put me in a position to be successful, and they had. And, you know, it just shows that one mistake can alter the road, but it doesn't dictate the future. And from that point forward, I think it just changed me as a man, because I had come from just being so successful that no one ever really told me no, even when things what wasn't the right thing to do. People didn't tell me no, and you know, that was the first time in my life that I had actually had to think about not having a game. And when you love something that much and you're not able to play it, and not only not able to play it, but not know the future of it, it's a bit scary. But at the same time, it made me think about other avenues. And for the first time, I started taking school very seriously. And I looked at it as an opportunity to show kids that not only do you need to make the right decision, but at the same time, you can make a poor decision, but when given that second opportunity, you can capitalize on that second opportunity. And that's what motivates me now, because, you know, I'm doing this for kids. You know, I want to be able to tell kids, hey, I made a mistake, but look at what I'm doing now. And that's what's kept me motivated on this journey, and that's what's going to keep me motivated, because I feel like when you're doing something for someone else, you tend to go that extra mile because you want to continue to keep that smile on whoever's face that you're doing it from, and you don't stop from just getting that self-gratification of a great game.
Yeah, you excellent. I mean, that was actually one of my questions. You know, what kind of things are motivating you to continue to pursue, you know, your career? I mean, you did touch on. I'll get to that in a moment, but you touched on another good point, and if you don't mind expanding on that, you mentioned that no one ever told you no before, and there's a lot of talk about, you know, that athletes, especially some highly touted as yourself, that get a lot. I don't want to say get special treatment or anything, but get special treatment because no one says no. Tell me how you get, I mean, how do you get over that? Because I can't imagine, I was never a superior athlete like yourself, so I don't know people not telling me no, or always telling me what I want to hear rather than probably telling me the truth. Can you expand on that a little bit? I mean, what is that like? Well, what's that transition when someone finally tells you no, you can't play football anymore, or you have to go somewhere else?
It was a humbling experience. You know, it was a humbling experience, but it was what I needed. You know, because I had two great parents, and my parents told me no, you can't do this, no, you shouldn't do that. But everyone else around me, they had their own agendas, and even when they knew I shouldn't be doing something, they would just go along with it, because it's like, oh, okay, well, we think he's going to be this, and we want to be along for the ride, so we won't say no. So I don't think I got the full experience of it because my parents were around to tell me no all the time. But I can only imagine, you know, some of the kids that come from broken homes and different things like that, where they don't have that you know, male figure or just that person that they kind of look up to in their life to tell them no, which is kind of what led me to doing some of the things I'm doing now, which is, you know, I mean, I started my own training company, and I train local athletes down in my area.
Okay.
And it's gotten to the point now where I'm not even sure, you know, and I hate to say this, but I'm not sure I'm going to Canada to play football because I don't want to leave these kids. And when you can look at kids' face, and when parents come to you and say, hey, my kid was making D's in school before he started coming here, and now he's making A's and B's in school. That just touches me in a different way, and it's bigger than football. So, you know, I can honestly sit here and tell you today, I don't know that I'm going to Canada.
Oh, did we lose you? We might have lost him, folks. I want to touch on that too. I think we lost him, Zach. I think his phone got cut out. Shoot.
His phone got cut out?
Yeah, and he was just making a great...
That's all right. I'll call him back.
Just making a great point, too. We'll try to get him back on the line here. Hold on for one moment, folks. We just lost him.
We heard that buzzing. What the hell was that? There he is, right here. Adrian, you there? Oh, wait.
After the tone.
Oh, no.
Oh, I don't want to leave a voicemail.
No.
Well, that's rough.
Well, hopefully he'll call back in.
Yeah. And if not...
We'll give it a second.
Yeah,
he's touching on a great point. I didn't even get to point. Well, we're going to keep trying him here. He was actually that's interesting that he's saying that he's caring us about these kids. Maybe he's trying to call us back in. That he may not have actually he just signed a contract with to go to play for the Calgary Stampeders or not play, maybe, according to him. So there he is. Good. Adrian, are you there?
Hey, how you doing?
We lost you there for a moment. I was afraid because I had heard that horn behind you just before that. So I was hoping you were okay. Okay, well, you were making a point, and let me lead back into it. Because in case you don't know, you just signed on with the Calgary Stampeders of the Canadian Football League last month, and one of my questions is going to be what have they told you about what they're expecting your role to be, backup or starter? Because I know Drew Tate is their starter, or at least was, but now I'm kind of interested to find out. You're saying you may or may not go, and I'm very interested in your reason why. Go back just a minute before we got cut out, because why you say you may or may not go. I really like what I was hearing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've briefly spoken to them about it, but not in very much detail. But you know, my you know, through this journey, my whole point has become is how many lives can I change? You know, how many lives can I touch and can I change? And you know, being around these kids every day and seeing the way that I just changed, you know, change them and light their faces up has really touched me in a way I've never been touched before. I mean, bigger than football, bigger than anything I've ever done. So and all these kids are looking for is that consistency in their life. Mm-hmm. And I've been consistent over these last 3-4 months. Right. And, you know, I've been, you know, kind of praying on it and talking to different people about it. I don't want to be another person to walk out on these kids. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you today, I don't know what I'm going to do. I love the game of football. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, my mission has always been to change people's lives. And where does that start? I feel like it starts with these kids, and I don't want to walk out on these kids. So that's something that I'm going to continue to think about. Mm-hmm. I've watched the growth in these kids over the last 3 months. Right. And I just want to give them hope. Sure. And if that requires me to be here to give them that hope, then I want to be here to give them that hope, to just kind of, you know, push them in the right direction, to show them that there is more out there. There's better. You need good grades. You can be whatever you want to be through hard work, sacrifice, and dedication. And that's just what I'm trying to teach them.
Well, that is so commendable. I mean, I'm taken aback, honestly. I mean, there's something to be said about giving up your own dreams so you can make sure that the dreams of others are still kept alive. And anybody that doesn't find that commendable, you know, is just absolutely crazy. Obviously you do have a lot of thinking to do. If you want, if you want to plug your training facility or what have you, by all means, throw it out there.
Right. And that's the thing. Like I said, honestly, I don't know, you know, where I'm going with this right now. Yeah. But what I do know is that I'm touching these kids' mm-hmm. lives in a way that I never imagined. And you know, I've always told people that it's a lot bigger than me. And sure. I'm willing to sacrifice myself for the betterment of these kids. And again, I don't know what I'm going to do. I continue to train. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. Mm-hmm. But again, I want to be consistent in these kids' lives. Yeah. And if that's, being here and possibly trying to come back and play for the Storm, mm-hmm. I'll try to do that because I do love the game of football. Right. But again, I want to be someone to touch people's lives and change people's lives, and I think I'm doing that with these kids.
Where exactly is your school located, or your training facility, or what? I'm not sure.
Well, right now we're in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. So Bradenton, Florida, and okay. We're kind of we're kind of all over the place right now. We don't have a physical location, okay. But we're at different public parks. We do beach workouts. Then we do yoga. These kids go to boxing classes. Everything that I do, training, I try to give them that avenue and show them and teach them that this is what it'll take after getting your schoolwork done. Mm-hmm. But everything that I do as a football player to prepare myself for a season, I want to open their eyes to. So we run heels. We go to title boxing, and they've responded. And I mean, it's not just football. I have kids that play soccer, lacrosse, baseball. And when I started this, never did I think kids would come to me for soccer. I don't play soccer, but I'm a great teacher. And I have, 3 young ladies who 2 have committed to Florida Atlantic, one's committed to the University of Miami.
Wow.
And they just came out on, hey, we heard you were doing this and you're really good at it. And it's just grown. And, I don't want to walk on these kids.
Is there do you have a website or a number, a phone number or anything?
I do. It's, if you go to McPherson Athletics, again, you can see the website there. I mean, for the last 2 weeks, actually, Dominique Rogers-Cromartie, the cornerback from the Denver Broncos, he's from here. He trains with us. There's about 3 of the guys from the Storm that come down and train with us. Okay. And everyone that comes out, they come back. They're just like, we haven't trained this way before, and they keep coming back. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Excellent.
Yeah, and folks, definitely check out McPhersonAthletics.com. I'm actually on the site, and the prices are actually incredible, Adrian.
Yeah, again, we have different places here, and I'm kind of trying to tell them my market too. I have kids as young as the 5th grade, but I want to make it affordable, and I want to teach these kids. I mean, I feel like you can go anywhere and you can get bigger, faster, stronger. But what difference does that make if you can't read a coverage, if you don't know what's going on? So we're actually hands-on teaching these kids coverages, teaching quarterbacks how to look off safeties with their eyes. So, again, everything that I would do in the game, that's what I'm teaching these kids. And again, the prices are great, and I love doing what I'm doing down here.
Well, that's great. And in the selfishness part of me really would like you to come back to the Storm. I don't want to see you go to Canada, but I'll just give you a push. Please come back to the Storm. We could use you, and I'm sure Derek would love to have you too. But I obviously we know you got to do what's best for you too, and I wish you the best. And if you decide to go to Canada, I know you've been there before. What's it like playing? What's it like playing the Canadian Football League? You were there for quite a few years with Montreal, I believe, and.
Don't get me wrong. I love Canada. I love the game, especially for the way I play the game. It's a big field. It's 3 downs. You have to be able to throw as well as run. So it fits my style of play. But at this point in my life, I mean, I'm 30 years old. I have a 3-year-old daughter. Right. There's just a lot more that goes into playing the game. I mean, if I go to Canada, there's 6 months that I don't see my daughter, and those are all things that I have to think about. Certainly. And I love Canada. I love the game. I love competing up there. The guys there compete at a very high level. But where I'm at in my life, I just want a bit more stability. And again, if that's going up there, I'll do that. But if I feel like it's a better situation for me here, I'll do that, because it's not about the money at all.
Right.
Obviously, because I would go to Canada, but for me, it's just about being stable, creating something that's going to last for a long time, and that's what I'm trying to do here, and being an important piece in these kids' lives, and I value that more than anything.
That's awesome. I like that. So let's kind of go back to last season. With the Storm, you were setting records last season, like crazy. It was just like it was like we knew what was coming, yet no one could still seem to stop you. And the Storm were kind of rolling. We were right up there. We were right in the thick of things, and then you got hurt,
right?
And which was like it didn't even look like it was that bad. But then when you came on the bench, it was clearly worse than we all thought.
Right.
Had you stayed healthy, what do you think the Storm could have done some damage? Because obviously after you went down, it wasn't the same, and things just took a terrible tailspin. What do you? I'm not trying to toot your own horn or anything, but what do you think?
I definitely think we could have been special. Obviously, I thought we were playing at a very high level when I was in there. I think there's just a lot that goes into the game of football, and one of the best coaches I've ever had was Mark Trestman in Canada, and what he kind of taught me was for a team to be good, the quarterback has to give that team hope, and I felt like that's what I had given to my teammates. You can tell everyone on that team, everyone believed in me. And when your teammates believe in you, you can get your teammates to do things that maybe they don't even think they can do. And that's kind of, I was just able to, I took the time, like I would always, go out to eat with guys, and not just the offensive line, but, DBs, D-linemen, because I wanted to understand what made those guys tick.
Yeah.
And once I understood that, I knew how to push them and get them to play at a higher level.
Yeah.
And it was almost like once I went down, they didn't know what to do because it was like, our hope was gone. So at that point, I just tried to talk to Randy, and because I think Randy is a really good football player.
Yep.
And tried to get him to understand that, the good players make the players around them better. They play at a higher level. Mm-hmm. And so I just think that it just happened at an unfortunate time, because the fact of the matter is, it wasn't my knee that was bothering me. Mm-hmm. I had played with a hernia for about 8 games,
right?
And I didn't know it was a hernia. So once I hurt my knee, that's when I decided to get the hernia checked out.
Oh, okay.
As soon as I went in, they were like, "Oh, you have a hernia." So my knee was fine. I could have played the next week with the knee,
right?
So it was, once I got the hernia, then I started thinking to myself, maybe I shouldn't have said anything, because I had played 8 games with it anyway.
Sure.
So it was just an unfortunate situation, and it bothered me, because it was like, man, I not only worked really hard, but this team was doing really good.
Yeah.
And I felt like I let the team down, which was one of the reasons why I felt like this year I wanted to come back, because I still had something to prove. Mm-hmm. I wanted to. It wasn't about me going out and playing at a high level, because I expect myself to do that. I wanted to win a championship, because that's just something you'll never forget the rest of your life,
right.
And you'll remember those guys, coaches, players for the rest of your life. And that's something that I wanted to be a part of, something that was bigger than myself. It's something that I didn't get a chance to finish. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to come back to the Storm, because I just felt like we played at a really high level and we had a chance, and I wanted to be a part of it. And not only that, my parents got to see me play every week.
Yeah.
So
I met your mom.
Yeah. So mom was just like, I don't want you to go to Canada, because I want to continue to see you play. And so it's just a lot going on right now that I'm thinking about. Yeah. And I've even, Derek and I have become really good friends, and I respect him tremendously and everything that he's done on and off the field, and which was a lot of the reason I came to the Storm, just to kind of be around him every day and pick his brain. So over this next month or so, I'm going to really just try to hone down and figure out what I want to do and make a decision one way or another.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, we had Brad Serini on a couple weeks ago, and he kind of alluded to the same kinds of things you did. It just seems like once you went down, and I truly believe that you were kind of the heart and soul of that of the offense. And right. Once you went down, no disrespect to Hippert, but he's just not you. And there were guys that were just lost out there. Joe Hills, and then he was getting his tryouts every other week, and then we lost Ellingson, and then Ellingson got his opportunity, and so and then of course, when Brad got hurt, it was just like between the injuries and all, it was a culmination of a lot of things, and you were clearly missed, and there was no question about it. It's like we found so many situations where when we were on the goal line or a couple yards out, it was like, oh, it's McPherson's touchdown, no doubt. And then we had one. Then the first time we had an opportunity like that, we had 4 shots at it and could never get it in because you weren't there. So clearly that's was a big difference maker, and I didn't know about the hernia thing, and that I'm glad that you clarified that, because there were a lot of people saying, well, it didn't look like his knee was all that bad, but it makes a lot of sense. And I saw you, I saw you at the home games, and you could clearly see you wanted to be out there, and it was just different. It definitely showed. And hey, maybe things will work out. Maybe you'll make your decision. You obviously got a lot to think about, and and all joking aside, I want you to make the best decisions for you and not for fans like myself. But and before we wrap it up, tell me, because you were talking about winning a championship and all that, and I know you had the opportunity to do that in Canada as a backup. But outside of that, I mean, what would you say is like the biggest thrill that you've had? To make it as broad as possible. I mean, if it's the birth of your kid or whatever it may be.
I mean, that is. I mean, it's two things, and that is the first. The birth of my daughter. It's just. I mean, if you have kids, you know it. There's nothing like it.
I got a 9-month-old myself.
Exactly. So to look at another human and to know that that's you, and I mean, with her, she does things that, you know, I look at her and I want to say something, but I'm like, you know, I do that, so how can I be mad at her? So she's a great kid, a smart kid, and it just motivates me. And I've never been motivated in that way to know that this little girl is dependent on me to provide for her, to show her right and wrong, and just to be a great father to her. So that is, without a doubt, the biggest thing that has ever happened to me. And the second thing is just my parents, just to see the smile that I can put on their face, not only athletically, because if you've ever watched me play, every touchdown I throw, everything I do, I point at my parents.
Yep,
because
sure do.
They put me in a situation to where I'm at today. They taught me right from wrong. They taught me hard work and everything. And I feel like I owe everything to them because of everything they sacrificed for me. And, that's like, with my training facility. My dad came out 2 weeks ago, and when he saw what I was doing, he started crying. He had never came out before. So to know that you're doing something positive, and that's his reaction as a man, to cry because he feels like what his son is doing is special, it touches you, and it touched me the same way as these kids touch me. So to know that I'm making him proud, both on and off the field, those are, by far the top two things that I've ever experienced in my life. Because I value family and just doing the right things, and that type of stuff really touches me.
That's awesome. Well, I almost hate to ask this follow-up question, and you don't even have to answer it if you don't want to. What would be your biggest disappointment or regret, if you have any?
Honestly, I don't have any. I really don't, because as much as I would like to say, Florida State, it turned me into a man quick. Because I remember being at home for a month. I didn't go out anywhere. I didn't do anything. And my dad walked in the room and he said, "Listen, you're going to get one more opportunity. Are you going to be ready or not?"
Right.
And from that day forward, I started working. And before I went to school at Florida State, I didn't work hard. I didn't work hard like that. I was just blessed with an ability, and quite frankly, I was just better than people at that time.
Right.
But from that day forward, I started working as hard as I possibly could. And that's like, people will see me and they'll be like, "Hey, man, you look like a linebacker." And I'm like, "No, I look like a quarterback that works really hard." That, I think that was more of a blessing than a regret, because it changed me for the better. I worked a lot harder. I took school. I felt that was more important. And I just continued to put myself around people that made right decisions, and I think that's put me in a position to do the right things both on and off the field.
That's perfect answer. I'm with you, because I've made some mistakes in my past as well, and I can regret them, but at the same time, I also think that if I hadn't made the mistakes that I made, and as a martial arts instructor myself, when you lose or when you make a mistake, the best thing you can take away from it is to learn from it, and whether it be to become a better man or a better woman or what have you. I think you've obviously clearly have taken that path. I like to think that I've taken the same path, and I think that's a perfect message to get out there to everybody that's listening. It's like, look, we can all make mistakes. It's owning up to those mistakes and taking the best available opportunity for the next opportunity that comes our way, our second chance, if you will. And you've done that.
And I agree, like you were saying, to touch on just what you were saying for a bit. I just, like you said, for me, it's just spreading the message. I mean, that's like a year ago, this lady wanted me to talk to a drug rehab program. And going into this rehab program to speak to these people, I thought it was kids. So I had a speech ready for some kids. And when I got there, it was grown men and women.
Yeah.
And the first thing I said when I got up there was, "Hey, I thought you guys were kids. I'm sorry, I don't have a speech, so I'm just going to speak from the heart.
Nice.
And I immediately start telling them about the mistakes I made at Florida State and where I am today. And to watch grown men and women, and I'm talking middle-aged men and women, 40, 50 years old, cry, you know, because you tell them there is hope.
Yeah.
You can keep going. You made a mistake, yes, but you can keep going. That's when I knew my message isn't just for kids. People relate to this, and people of all ages, because we all mess up. So to physically be that person that has made a mistake, that is moving forward, that motivates me not only for kids, for people, because I want them to look at me and say, if he did it, why can't I? And that's the way I walk every day, just to give people that hope. And that's football, that's life, and that's what I strive to do every single day.
Well, you just touched a part of my heart, Adrian. I got to be honest. You know, I came from that arena myself, so I can relate, and I can't be more proud of the things that you're doing, and I got a greater appreciation of you today than I probably ever did. I've learned a lot from you, and I can't thank you enough for taking the time to speak with me or with us today. What's the future hold for Adrian McPherson?
You know, honestly, I don't know. You know, I just try to, I try to stay in the moment. That's what I've been focused on, just staying in the moment. And honestly, it's these kids. I mean, and anyone I could tell my message to, who will listen, I'll tell it, because I honestly think this is what touches people. And the thing about it is, these kids don't understand. They do more for me than I do for them. There's a lot of reasons I, possibly want to stay here and play for the Storm is I want these kids to see me play, because I want them to say, "Hey, man, coach, he comes straight from practice and comes here to coach us to make us better people and better athletes." And that's what I want to do to these kids. I want to show them that there's hope. I want to be able to play at a high level, and for them to see me play at a high level, and not for me, for them. Yeah. That's the reason I'm up 4:30 every morning, because I want to be, not that they don't have it, but if they don't have it, that positive influence on their life that they feel like they can come to with anything, and coach is going to give them that advice as a big brother, as a father, whatever they want me to be, to just give them that hope and push them out there and show them that there is more and they can be whatever they want to be, just through hard work and sacrifice.
Wow, that's something else. I mean, and listen, I'm just going to throw it out there. If there's anything I can ever do to help you, because I'm like I've told you, I've made my share of mistakes, and I've had to grow from them and move on. And I'd like to think that I've been doing some successful things in my life as well. If there's anything I can ever do, help you or participate, volunteer, whatsoever with anything that you're doing, I would love to have that opportunity.
Okay.
I
appreciate it. Well, yeah, I mean, since you throw it out there, what I'm doing May 17th is I'm throwing a free football camp, a free football clinic for the first 300 kids that sign up. So I'll stay in contact with you to give you more information on it.
Okay, please do.
And if you can just spread the word, that'll be great. But I just want to show these kids the right way. And again, the camp is free. And again, I just want to be a positive influence in the community. Yeah. And that's what I value about Derek. Anybody that you talk to about Derek, the first thing they say is he's a good man. And that's why I continue to surround myself with him. That's why I call him and text him. He's probably tired of me calling and texting him, because I literally call him and text him every other day, even if it's just to say hello. But
sure.
So I value him as a man. I value his opinion. And those are the type of people that I want to surround myself with.
Well, excellent. Oh, May 17th, free football camp with Adrian McPherson. Well, and my producer here, Zach, he actually is involved in coaching some youth football, so I'm certain he'll get the word out about that.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about it here on the show, and heck, maybe we'll even see, if you wanted, maybe we can even set up doing a remote out there or something like that.
Oh, that would be awesome.
and that would be great. Well, I don't want to take up your time. I've had you on for about a half an hour. I know that's probably more time than you normally speak, but I was really intrigued with a lot of what you wanted to say, and I appreciate you hanging in there and taking this time with us and with me today. like I said, I would love to. I would love you, Coach Samuels would love it if you came back and played for the Storm. That's my vote. I'm going to throw that out there, but I wish
I missed it. I missed it so much. I showed up the first day of practice just to see the guys. And I showed up and was hanging out with the guys.
All right.
A couple of them were like, "You back, man?" I'm like, "No, but I might be." Man, I miss being around those guys. There's nothing like just hardworking, humble guys that just love the game of football. So
sure.
We'll see what happens within the next month or so here.
Take your time.
But again, if I'm not on the field, I might be sitting right next to you at the game.
I think there's an open seat for you, my friend.
Yeah, because Adrian, I don't know, like I said, I don't know if you remember this or not, but we sit the 2 seats right next to the bench.
Yeah.
Okay, on the right side, right?
Yeah, that's
wow,
it. Right
he knows
there.
us.
I know exactly who you are.
All right. Well, again, hey, listen. I hope to see you back out there. Obviously you still got a lot of thinking to do. I know you'll come to the right decision one way or the other. You don't even have to play football if you don't want to. It sounds like you've got your head on straight, my friend. I love the things that you're doing. As I said, if I can help you out and be a part of it in any way, I'd love to be there. Appreciate you taking the time with us today. And McPherson Athletics is the place to go. McPhersonAthletics.com. Check him out. And Adrian, again, thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. And maybe we'll see you right down the road.
Okay, thanks so much for having me.
All right, have a good day.
Take care, Adrian. Bye-bye. Adrian McPherson, ladies and gentlemen.
Very awesome, very awesome. So there you go. Well, we'll definitely May 17th, free football camp for if you have some kids involved. And man, I had no idea. I didn't know what to expect from that. And he is looks like this is a clear case of growing up in maturity and I alluded to the issues that he had at Florida State, and he did well. I didn't think it was necessary to talk about the specifics. Like I said, if you're interested in finding out what that's all about, it's pretty easy to find out there. I just didn't think that was necessary to specifically talk about the details, just to know that he did make some mistake and he paid for it, and obviously he learned from that mistake, and he's doing he's giving it back twofold. And to even think that you're going to turn down an opportunity to play at a larger scale professional league to stay closer to home and stick with the kids that you're training, right? That's commendable. I can't say enough about it. So great, awesome job, awesome interview. That's the kind of things I like to hear, and I'm definitely gonna see if there's anything I can do to help, or maybe even I can come and give my stories too.
Yeah, I mean, do a remote or some way. Me and you could help him out. May 17th. What was it? May 17th.
May 17th.
Free football kids camp to the first 300 kids that sign up. Right.
Yeah, I believe that's what he said.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yep,
all right.
I believe that's what he said.
And, me and Adrian tweet back and forth. We've done it since the past season. No, he hasn't contacted me or called me once every other day. But, yeah, we talk a good amount, and I'll keep you guys posted.
So maybe the twat is something I need to start thinking about. I don't know.
At Scuba. At 2 cents Scuba.
2 cents Scuba. Twat me. All right, well, listen, we're going to take a quick break here, just kind of get refreshed, and we've got about 20 minutes or so left in the show. We'll come back, talk on a couple other little subjects, wind down the day, and we'll be right back.
So say the stars, it's meant to be. My heart is for you. My soul is too. I pledge my life. One day you'll be my wife. I swear this much is true. Friday night, and I'm all alone, so I pick up the phone. Hey Tiffany, yeah, it's me. I know it's been a while since I called. Well, my dog died, and I lost my job, and I'm out here on the so baby, please, could you come and comfort me? I'm about to lose my head. Hold it, she fell for it again. She thinks I'm in love. Nah, son, just here for fun. Fucking is the only thing I love, 'cause I'm that dude. I'm still on the phone, you fucking jerk. Yeah, I'm that dude. 'Cause I'm that dude. 'Cause I'm that dude. Yeah, I'm that dude.
Michael G. Butash, attorney at law, is a former state prosecutor with substantial experience in handling all criminal and DUI matters. When you are facing charges, you want someone who aggressively defends cases ranging from minor traffic infractions to serious violent first-degree felonies. Call attorney Butash and together you'll discuss your case in person or by phone. He accepts most major credit cards and also offers payment plans. Call attorney Michael G. Butash today for your initial free consultation.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back, and let's just a quick disclosure because they are our sponsors. It's Michael J. Butash is also his partner with Donovan, so it's actually Butash and Donovan.
Yeah, check them out, www.butashanddonovan.com.
Yeah, so we just haven't gotten an updated commercial yet.
Gonna have their banner hopefully behind Scuba within the next week or so.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so. So that, they are one of our sponsors, and just wanted to throw that out there that we will get an updated commercial here soon. But it is Butash and Donovan, and so for all your legal needs, give them a call, give them a ring. So I have a hard time recovering. I love having good interviews like that. That's just great. It's just great. Kind of transition a little bit off because sports a little bit, as we will do from time to time, and there's a lot of stuff going on in Arizona this week. Arizona's Senate Bill 1062 actually just passed, and it's basically being referred to as the anti-gay bill. I hate to refer to it as that. I mean, ultimately, that's kind of what it's. Behind the scenes, it's what it's for, but essentially what the bill does is it does allow for businesses in Arizona to assert their religious beliefs to deny service to customers. Now, that's the broad sense. When you start saying that they're allowed to assert their religious beliefs to deny service to individuals, well, when you add in religion to the factor, you're really referring to the gay and lesbian community. That's really what this is targeted about. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's a horse shit bill. First of all, there's two sides of it. First of all, the libertarian side of me says that a business has every right to deny service to any customer for whatever reason. It's their business. They don't have to service anybody if they don't want to. I will support that. Okay, I'm not going. That's not to say that I agree with it, with some of the decisions, whether it be a bakery that doesn't want to make a cake for a gay couple's marriage or what have you. I'm not agreeing to that. But as a business, they have the right to decide that that's not what they want to do. That's liberty. What I have a problem with is that the state feels that they have to legislate something like this. when you legislate and make into law that a business can do this, you're creating more problems than just allowing the free market to take care of itself. Because anybody that owns a business, again, should be able to choose who they do or don't want to work with. But I don't know that it needs to be a statutory thing where it's actually determined and dictated. I'm just not interested in that. That's not America. That's not freedom.
No, and I mean, especially with some right-wing nut like Janice Brewer, I mean, she'll pass it through, is what we're all expecting.
Well, she's vetoed something similar to this previously.
Oh.
Believe it or not. The one thing in her reasoning behind that was basically almost along the same lines as that I was just saying, is that it's really not the place for the government to make that decision or to enforce it to be allowed, nor should it be, conversely, nor should it be forced not to be allowed. So wherein you may have the right-wing religious side that says, well, we don't want to serve gays and so forth, nor should it be on the other side that, well, we have to tell that business they have to cater to gays whether or not they want to or not. I'm not for that either. Okay, again, let the market determine itself. It's my business. I should be able to determine who I don't want to serve. Just like a business, back in the day where they used to have, signs on the doors, no shirt, no shoes, no service, right? Same difference. If you don't want somebody's business, then that's on you. Personally, if I have a business, I don't care who's coming in as long as they're buying my products and putting money in my pocket. Why would I want to limit who's coming through the doors of my business? That's just stupidity, in my opinion. Especially when I believe the statistics are about 1 in 4 people are gay or lesbian. I could be wrong. Maybe it's 1 in 6. I don't know what the exact stat. It's pretty significant though. That's a pretty good. Actually, somewhere like 1 to 6 or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but that's not the point. The point is, it's still a pretty significant amount of number, and to discriminate from having that kind of business walk through your doors, I mean, to me, that's just not smart business sense. Pure and simple.
Well, in my opinion, this is ridiculous. I mean, honestly.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, and I get where you're coming from, and I had a conversation with our guest a couple weeks ago, Lucas Overby, or was that last week? That was last week. About this issue, and me and him both made some pretty good points. But the one thing that really pisses me off is this something that the government should be regulating to force these people to force these businesses to be forced to serve these people.
No, But that's what I was saying.
But why not serve these people? That's the question.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. So if you're gonna put in legislation that says that you can deny service to individuals because of your quote religious beliefs, then that's no better than saying that, well, you have to serve these people no matter what, whether you want to or not. Neither one of those options is correct. It's not how the free market works, or it's not even how freedom or liberty works, okay? If a particular business wants to put a sign saying, well, we don't, whatever, it doesn't even have to be gay or lesbian. It could be, we don't want to serve whitey, okay? That would be their prerogative. Now, the market will determine or not whether other people want to support that business. I mean, personally, if I know there's a business that going out of their way not to serve, in this case, a gay or lesbian community, that's not a business that I'm going to want to frequent myself. And I'm not gay, and I'm not I am a lesbian, but look, seriously, I'm not homosexual or gay or whatever, but I'm a champion for their cause. I have many friends that are, and I'm not going to frequent or give my money to a place that's going to discriminate against people that I'm friends with. That's just not something that I'm going to do. So, and I know I'm not alone in that. So, as a business owner, if you're not just saying you're not going to serve one particular group, because there's still going to be other people that aren't going to be supportive of that decision with you, and you're also losing those people as well. So to me, it's just stupid business sense. And that's how the market works, is whether you demand what people come into your business. Now, my other issue is that, Arizona has much bigger problems on tap than whether or not a business should be discriminating against people or not. Seriously. I mean, there's a lot more important things that the state of Arizona, or the United States of America for that matter, have to worry about than stupid shit like this. And yeah, I'm going to curse. Because here's the inherent problem also, is that legislation like this will have a profound and negative effect on the business community in Arizona or anywhere else it might do this for years to come. And it's not even just with regards to the gay community, because it potentially has a damaging risk of other costly and needless legal disputes in other avenues, whether it be, look, there are other religions that discriminate against not just gays and lesbians, but other races or other religious factions for that matter. So you're really just opening up an unnecessary can of worms, and eventually, where do you draw the line? And with Arizona getting a Super Bowl here soon, 49, you're getting Super Bowl 49 coming in the coming year. You're running into a situation where if this really goes through, Jan Brewer, that the NFL could step in and say, you know what? We're pulling the Super Bowl from you.
And I guarantee you they would, too.
I believe that they will. They did this back in the early 90s. Same kind of thing is when they were having some of the... Arizona's a fucked up state. Let me tell you. I've always said that if I wasn't living here, Arizona would be one of the other places I'd want to live. But you know what? The state of... and that's strictly just because it's beautiful out there, and I like the weather, and I have family out there. But politically wise, I'd probably go bat crap crazy and be banging my head against the wall. I don't know that I could stand it in that regards, but they did this back in the 90s too. They pulled a Super Bowl from once before when they were passing discriminatory laws. This is just not something that's smart. There's other major events too that Arizona's got, they've got a major bowl game, they've got the Fiesta Bowl. I mean, this is a lot of major events that surround the area. And if they allow something like this to go on, you could be facing boycotts of these events and so forth. And, it's just going to damage other businesses, will get dragged down with this. Legitimate businesses that you don't care who comes in through their doors. Like if I had a business in Arizona, I wouldn't care. But it would hurt my business if something like this went through, because people are just going to avoid the area, and I don't like it. So if I'm a business owner that's certainly not in support of this, I'm not in favor for this, and I'm going against it either. Man, I don't know. Look, yes, America has been built on the principle that religious beliefs, no matter what it may be, you have the right to freely exercise your religious beliefs. But I don't know that that's something that needs to be put into legislation. It's not. Your freedom of religion is not necessarily meaning this kind of thing, and that's in the Constitution. So you can practice whatever religion you want to. It's given to you in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. What we don't need to do is go down this road and start legislating this into stuff.
Right, and then also real quick, Rocco's Pizza posted a picture up in their window that says, "We reserve the right to refuse service to Arizona legislators."
Yes, it's a picture. It's gone viral. It's been all over Facebook and other twat activities and things of that nature. And I
found another picture. It's got Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker outside, and that's Arizona. The Arizona legislature. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy, which is also true.
Yep, that's very true. Arizona is just they've put bans on same-sex marriages. back in 2008. They had discriminatory laws put on the books back in the 90s that were basically discriminatory towards the African American community. There's something inherently wrong with the bigotry that goes on in the state of Arizona that I just can't get over, and that's probably the one reason why I wouldn't ultimately want to live there. Some of these Republican legislatures in Arizona try to defend the bill as a First Amendment issue, which it's not. Democrats are dismissing it as an attack on gays and lesbians, which, it is. It's just a bad situation going on there. It's going to allow people to discriminate against the gay community and other. I mean, what if they could easily? What if a woman is pregnant and out of wedlock, for example? That's against religious beliefs. So are they going to ban a single pregnant woman from coming into the store and purchasing an item?
Well, not only that. I mean, this could lead to so many things.
Well, that's another example. I'm just saying.
And I mean, what? Because I'm overweight and I walk into a vegetarian restaurant? Nope, you're fat.
Yes,
get out.
Yes, because you are the sin of gluttony. My friend,
you're an asshole.
Gluttony is a sin, and you are not allowed in my store. I mean, that's really, look, I'm joking about it, but that's honestly where you could lead with something like this.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can give us our thoughts. We don't have time to take any calls on this because we are up against the end of the show. But if you have comments or about this, please leave them on our Facebook or twat my host, and we'll get back with you on it. But I did want to touch on this because I thought it was a very important issue that needs to be brought to light, and I just keep shaking my head at what goes on in Arizona, and it's weird because this is certainly a situation where the minority actually controls the state of Arizona, because the majority of people in Arizona are the people that are actually being discriminated against, believe it or not. But when I say the majority, I'm talking about if you added in all the illegals or even legal immigrants, gays and lesbians, and the African American community in Arizona, there's the majority there, folks, over the minority of the people that are making all these laws against all these different people.
Yeah, and we'll definitely respond really quickly on the Facebook page. I mean, me and Scuba are on that thing 24/7.
Yes. Yep, we are. So, but that's going to kind of end the show because we are up against the time. I didn't get to talk too much about the NFL Combine and stuff that's going on there, but you can just turn on the NFL Network and talk about that. But
yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that soon enough. I mean, there's not really a whole lot going on there, but coming up here in the next couple weeks, we do have the Arena Football League getting ready to start. We talked about that a little bit with Adrian, so we will start hitting on that. Baseball, spring training games are about to start as well here this week. And, for instance, Florida State opens up with the Yankees, I believe, on Wednesday afternoon. So spring training games are going to start to roll. Rays had FanFest yesterday. So we'll start talking some baseball next week as well. Maybe start breaking down a little bit of that. But unfortunately, we're up against the hour. So check us out. Give us a like on our Facebook page if you haven't. If you got subjects you'd like to talk about, please post them. We'll put them down, and we will make every effort to talk about them. That's pretty much it. I want to thank everybody for listening. Got any last words there, Mr.
I do. Remember, guys, check out the Twitter. Scuba gonna get on the Twitter, I hope. I
really don't want to do that.
No. It's at 2 Cent Zach. Everything related to the show, recordings of the show, everything upcoming on the show, it's going to be on there. Check out the website, www.2centshow.webs.com. Also, check out Taylor's YouTube channel, MEHH, it's Taylor. Also, real quickly, thank you, Michael G. Butash and Donovan. Thank you guys for sponsoring the show. And I believe that is it. Thank you, TalkWad, Scuba.
And if you are interested in being a sponsor on the show, you can contact Zach at his Twitter or on our Facebook account, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you about that.
And, of course, real quickly, I just saw breaking news, UConn got a 6-0 shutout.
All right. So their pitching's not the problem, as long as their bats come along. So UConn baseball improves to 3-3, which is good, and we'll be seeing them again shortly. So again, from TalkWad Studios, this is 2 Cents Sports and Entertainment Show. See you next Sunday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.